pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the national news of Rupavahini on ChannelEye. We are coming to you live from the National News Studio. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
I'm Owen Hettiaroche, and today is the 31st of May, and here are today's headlines.
Poson Week begins. A beetle to devour salvinia and water hyacinth. The Secretary of Mass Media says television channel rating system is incorrect and partial. Price of urea decreases. Battaramulla will be made a tobacco-free zone. The first satellite mission of North Korea fails.
For those and other stories in detail in your top story. China has reiterated its steadfast support to Sri Lanka in its ongoing economic recovery and also its keen interest in exploring opportunities to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries. The assurance was given during a meeting with President Ranil Wickremesinghe and China's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Sun Weidong at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The President expressed his sincere appreciation for the unwavering assistance provided by China during this critical period. Vice Minister Sun Weidong announced China's keen interest in exploring opportunities to strengthen the bilateral relations between the two countries. This commitment highlights China's dedication to fostering closer ties with Sri Lanka on various fronts. The visit of Vice Minister Sun Weidong and the discussions held with President Wickremesinghe further solidify the bonds between China and Sri Lanka, paving the way for enhanced cooperation and shared prosperity in the future, the President's media division said.
In the meantime, the Poson Week starts today.
Measures have been taken to provide special transport services and other required facilities for the convenience of the devotees who visit Anuradhapura sacred area during the Poson Week. Poson religious events have also been organized at all Buddhist temples and centers island-wide during this period. Poson Poya Day religious observances will be held at the Abhayagiri Ancient Temple. The government has allocated money for the development of temples with meager facilities in line with the Poson period. The Secretary to the Ministry of Buddhasasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Somaratna Vidanapatrana, said that government has allocated 100 million for the development of physical resources of the most difficult temples and has forwarded the basic provisions to the governors in the said 5 districts. He also said that this year's Poson celebration will be remarkable as the public can celebrate the festival peacefully for the first time after 3 chaotic years.
සඳහා අවශ්‍ය වාතාවරණය තියෙන නිසා මම හිතන්නේ ඉතාමත්ම උද්‍යෝගයෙන් ඒ සඳහා සහභාගී වන ජනතාව සැදී පැහැදී පවති විශ්වාසය.
A large crowd of devotees is expected to come to the Anuradhapura for the Poson celebrations. Police say that special security program is underway at the Poson zones organized in Anuradhapura and other areas. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Transport Board says that 372 buses will be deployed covering the Anuradhapura, Dambulla and Polonnaruwa Poson zones for the convenience of devotees and pilgrims. In addition, 60 buses have been deployed to Mihintale Poson zone. The Railway Department says 12 special train journeys to Anuradhapura will be arranged from the 2nd to the 5th of June. 2 trains will leave for Anuradhapura from the Fort Railway Station at 1 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. on the same day. A special train leave Gaul at 8:15 p.m. to Anuradhapura. On the Poson Poya Day, 2 trains will leave at 7:05 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. for Anuradhapura from Beliath Railway Station. Deputy General Manager of Railways N.J. Indipolage says that trains have also been arranged from Anuradhapura to Colombo Fort at 5 p.m. on the 3rd of June. At 9:30 p.m. on the same day, 2 trains bound to Gaul will leave the Anuradhapura station. The annual Parit chanting ceremony held at the Jayasri Mahabodhi premises in Anuradhapura on the Poson Poya Day will also be held this time as well. The event has been organized under the patronage of Chief Incumbent of Atamasthana, Venerable Pallegama Hemaratna Thera, in order to invoke blessings to the country and the nation. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the Pitipana-Homagama Poson zone is carried out with the collaboration of the government's institutions, Western Provincial Council, Army, Security Forces and several other public organizations. He also expressed that from a special approval from the Minister of Buddhasasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, they are expecting to take the Nilagiri sacred relics from the Department of National Museums in Colombo to Sukadabimbarama Temple in Homagama on the third Poson day to exhibit to the public for 3 days. The President's Media Division announces that allegations levelled by some factions that the government does not contribute to State Poson Festival and Mihintale Poson Illumination Program are totally false and baseless.
The President's Media Division further says that a sum of 28.8 million rupees has been allocated for this matter through 2 state ministries and departments. In addition, district and divisional secretariats, municipal councils and Pradesh Sabhas have also provided financial assistance in many Poson activities. According to the President's Media Division, members of the 3 armed forces also contribute to a lot through their labour. The Secretary to the Ministry of Buddhasasana and Cultural Affairs, Somaratna Vidyaratna Patirana, says that the ministry has agreed to grant 3.1 million rupees for the Poson Perahara in Mihintale. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, KDN Ranjit Asoka, says that 10 million rupees have been released through Anuradhapura District Secretariat to bear the expenses of the State Poson Festival. The money will be spent under the approval of the District Secretary. In addition, Water Supply and Drainage Board have confirmed that it will allocate 15.7 million rupees to provide drinking water, sanitary facilities and other common amenities in line with the State Poson Festival.
Measures have been taken to introduce a beetle to control spread of Salvinia and water hyacinth plants in the irrigational tanks in the Polonnaruwa district. This project was kicked off from the Parakrama Samudra reservoir recently. Aquatic plants like Salvinia and water hyacinth have been spreading rapidly in tanks, canals and even in paddy lands rapidly for several years. As a solution to destroy these aquatic plants, the Agricultural Research Institute in Gannorua has introduced a special variety of beetle that devour and feed on these plants. An awareness program in this connection was held recently at the National Youth Services Council Auditorium in Polonnaruwa. Later, the beetles were released to selected areas in the Parakrama Samudra where these aquatic weeds are rampant. The Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Anusha Papita, says that the rating system of television channels is not accurate and conducted ad hoc and partial manner.
At a discussion held with COPA committee, Mr. Papita made these comments expressing views regarding the performance of the government's information department. The COPA committee was held recently in Parliament under the patronage of COPA Chairman State Minister Lasantha Lagiyawanna. The Auditor General reports of 2019, 2020 and 2021 and the performance and progress of the government's information department were discussed at this meeting. Expressing views, the Secretary of the Ministry further said that the count for the points of a rating system, about 400 televisions are set and selected randomly to get data and information. In this process, it has been said 3 media divisions of TV states have bribed the rating companies unnecessarily to influence them. The Secretary said, therefore, data obtained from the system is not accurate. The state media has increased responsibility than the private media channels, and the state media cannot only focus on the enhancement of ratings. The COPA committee says it also focuses attention on issuing identity cards for media personnel. Journalists who contribute a lot to the activities of news reporting should be evaluated. The COPA committee focused attention to prepare a suitable system for evaluating journalists. They also focused attention on setting a mechanism to provide foreign news and other overseas information through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The action plan prepared by the government's information department to make ITN and Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation to make it profitable was also discussed at the meeting. They also discussed the progress of the action plan.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that the price of urea will be definitely reduced before the 15th of June. The next shipment of urea is to be arrived in the island on the 7th or 8th of June. The minister states that urea fertilizer is available at all the agrarian services centres. A 50 kilogram pack of urea is sold at 10,000 rupees at present. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that it is obvious that private sector is making improper profits by the sale of urea. It is not fair to sell urea fertilizer at high prices as the price of international market has gone down with the depreciation of the dollar. Meanwhile, the ministry has focused attention on to purchase paddy harvest of this yellow season. Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that a separate cabinet paper will be prepared for this purpose. Accordingly, the Paddy Marketing Board will start purchasing harvest from the farmers. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that we have to admit the fact that paddy purchasing process was not successful. Therefore, the problem has been directed to the President for a solution. The minister expresses confidence that money will be released to the Paddy Marketing Board in the coming days, and thereby the paddy purchasing will be recommenced. Now, a meeting took place at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and representatives from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
The primary focus was the discussion of digitalization of data in Sri Lanka's agricultural sector. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of continuing government's efforts to modernize the agricultural sector to improve nutrition and address climate change and enhance financial security. During the meeting, officials from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation expressed their willingness to support these activities, provided they align with the government policies and regulations regarding the financial assistance and the use of modern technology. They presented relevant information to support their stance. The proposed establishment of a university dedicated to climate change was also a topic of attention during the meeting. State Minister Shahan Semasinghe, Senior Advisor to the President of National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff Sagar Ratnayaka, and several others were also present at this meeting. World Anti-Tobacco Day falls today. Tobacco and drug elimination programs have been organized in Sri Lanka as well to mark the day. The World Anti-Tobacco Day was declared by the member countries of the World Health Organization in 1987. The aim of the day is to mark the focus of the global attention on the disease and death caused by the use of tobacco. Over 8 million individuals die of tobacco and smoking. Out of the amount, 1.2 million victims are passive smokers.
A march has been organized in line with the World Anti-Tobacco Day at Ambalangoda town by the Ambalangoda Divisional Secretariat. A special program to mark the World Anti-Tobacco Day was organized by the Battaramulla MOH office. Aim of this program is to make Battaramulla area a tobacco-free zone. Employees and the officials of the factories and industries in Battaramulla area were enlightened on the negative effect of smoking. A march has been organized in line with the World Anti-Tobacco Day at Ambalangoda town by the Ambalangoda Divisional Secretariat. Flags were also sold among the public at this event. The income earned by the Flag Day will be utilized to purchase school equipment to the students of low-income families. Now, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena met his Thailand counterpart today in the state place in Bangkok.
The Prime Minister is in Thailand for a day of official visits. The aim of the visit is to take part in the UN Vesak celebration in Bangkok to have bilateral talks and to strengthen business and investment between Sri Lanka and Thailand. Attention will also be focused to strengthen the religious ties. Minister Vidura Wickremesinghe, State Minister Vijitha Berogada and Parliamentarian Yadavini Gunawardena and relevant officials of both countries attended this discussion. Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Anurattunga, says that the President's tour of Japan will lead to solutions to the economic crisis of the country.
He expressed these views joining a program produced by the President's Media Division. Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Anurattunga, said that the Japanese Prime Minister and the Japanese Cabinet are not willing to meet with any leader of any country in the world. He said that Japan is trying to take the responsibility to help Sri Lanka overcome this crisis, and Sri Lanka is once again receiving assistance and friendship from Japan. Therefore, the background required for the reawakening of our country's economy and social stance has been created. He also said that Japan is considered to be a long-term friend of this country. Even the JICA has given donations for our university system back then. He also stressed that when Japan makes a donation to any country, they use first-class technology and the technology they use back in Japan itself. And that is the gentlemanly qualities Japan possesses. Chairman also added that when they see us using the same technology for more than 25 years, they tend to help those countries more. He also said that we even can be a country which is more developed than Japan, considering the natural resources and human resources we have. He also stressed the importance of working with Japan with a proper long-term plan rather than using narrow shortcuts.
COPA calls the Department of Samruddhi Development to preview the progress of the implementation of the recommendations given earlier. COPA chaired by Lasantha Alagiyavanna summoned the Department of Samruddhi Development to review the progress of the implementations of the recommendations given earlier in the committee about a month ago. Facts including the number of employees present when Sri Lanka Samruddhi Authority was made into a department, how those employees underwent the process of absorption, the number of employees who have not been absorbed so far were analysed at the committee. The committee emphasised the need to solve these problems and to provide an efficient service in the Department of Samruddhi Development. The attention was also paid to the digitization program of the Samruddhi Bank system. The Director General of the Samruddhi said that this process had already started in 5 districts and bank networks will be compelled by December of this year. Attention was also drawn to the recommendations to given to conduct an investigation into the occurrence of a major financial irregularity in the Damana Divisional Secretariat while providing fishing nets to the prosperous for the livelihood. The chair of the committee said that the Department of Samruddhi Development will be called before COPA again to review the progress of the implementation of these recommendations.
The Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization to visit Sri Lanka from 31st May to 4th June. Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, Dr. Robert Floyd, will visit Sri Lanka from 31st May to 4th June this year. During the visit, Dr. Robert is scheduled to pay courtesy calls on the President, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Environment and meet with senior officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Defence and the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau. Sri Lanka signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty on 24th October 1996. A facility agreement with the organization in June 2000 has led the way for the establishment of an auxiliary seismological station in Pallekele, Kandy as part of the international monitoring system to verify compliance with the treaty. The key objective of this treaty is to ban nuclear explosions by everyone, everywhere, above ground, underwater and underground. The visit is expected to further strengthen cooperation between Sri Lanka and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization.
The Sri Lankan rupee has slightly appreciated against the US dollar at commercial banks in Sri Lanka today. In comparison to yesterday, People's Bank buying rate of the US dollar has dropped from 288 rupees and 6 cents to 286 rupees and 12 cents, while the selling rate has reduced from 303 rupees and 55 cents to 301 rupees and 50 cents. At several other private banks, buying and selling rates of the US dollar have reduced from 288 rupees and 78 cents to 285 rupees and 81 cents respectively.
Ambassador Vishwanath Aponso highlights measures taken by Sri Lanka for the women's economic empowerment. A Sri Lanka delegation led by Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Iran, GMV Vishwanath Aponso, participated in the 7th meeting of the Working Group of Women's Economic Empowerment of the Indian Ocean Rim Association from 22nd to 23rd this month in Tehran. The meeting was chaired by the Director General of the International Office of the Vice Presidency for Women and Family Affairs of Iran, Dr. Khadijeh Karimi. Ministers, deputies and high-ranking representatives from 14 IORA member states, senior officials of the Iran government and the IORA Secretariat attended the event. Ambassador Aponso in his speech conveyed the recent initiatives of the government of Sri Lanka towards improving women's economic empowerment of the country, establishing the National Centre for Empowering Women-Headed Households in Kilinochchi district and adopting the National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security for the period of 2023-2027 were highlighted. The Sri Lankan envoy also reaffirmed that the country is committed to working towards achieving women's economic empowerment in a collective manner under the IORA framework.
Chartered Accounts of Sri Lanka and Australia Chapter Consulate General of Sri Lanka in Melbourne were held to reignite Sri Lanka 2023 in Melbourne, Australia recently. The Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka and Australia Chapter, in collaboration with the Consulate General of Sri Lanka to Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania, held a business networking event, Reignite Sri Lanka 2023, recently in Melbourne, in Australia. The function was aimed at pressing Sri Lanka's economic growth and investment opportunities to leading Australian businesses and organisations. Consul General of Sri Lanka, Sandit Samarasinha, highlighted some of the key investment projects earmarked under the Climate Prosperity Plan and invited attendees to visit and report and explore the opportunities available here. President of the Institute Chartered Accounts of Sri Lanka, keynote speaker Sanjay Bandara, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Chalaka Gajabahu, also addressed the guests on several areas including Sri Lanka's investment and tourism potential. Reignite Sri Lanka 2023 will be continued as an initiative to promote Sri Lanka as a business investment and tourist destination.
The people in the Karamanalla area says that oil is contaminated to the waters of Kalani River in this area. Accordingly, MOH officials and public health inspectors have started investigations. National Water Board has obtained samples of water and conducted tests as well. The Deputy High Commissioner of Sri Lanka meets superstar Rajinikanth. Deputy High Commissioner of Sri Lanka, Dr. D. Venkateshwaran, met Padma Bhushan superstar Rajinikanth, a world-renowned actor from South India, at his residence recently. During the meeting, Deputy High Commissioner invited Rajinikanth to visit Sri Lanka as his presence will enhance cinema-induced tourism as well as spiritual and wellness tourism. Deputy High Commissioner also personally invited him to explore the Ramayana trail that is exclusive to Sri Lanka and also other unique Buddhist sites in Sri Lanka.
Improvements in the upcountry education, health and technology are being discussed through the Bill and Melinda Foundation. A discussion was held today under the direction of the Secretary General of Ceylon Workers Congress and the Minister of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure Development, Jeevan Thondaman, regarding the advancement of education, health and technology in the upcountry through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, one of the top humanitarian organizations in the world. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation chief executive officers attended the conference. The foundation's projects that can be implemented in Sri Lanka have been carefully reviewed. Plans to provide wholesome food, providing good health and providing children, particularly those living in upcountry state regions, with modern technology were explored at the discussion.
Now, management of the Colombo Lotus Tower says that a number of youth have been taken into their custody under the charges of disfiguring the inner walls of the tower, inscribing various names, titles and symbols, and later taken legal actions against them.
Such couple was taken into custody last evening as well. Since the opening of the Lotus Tower, people in large numbers are arriving to visit the tower. On the last Vesak Poya day, nearly 13,000 visitors were present at the tower. Out of the visitors, some youths have attempted to write and draw names and comments on the wall of the observation floor. Management of the Lotus Tower Private Limited say that all steel walls of the observation floor have been disfigured with scratchings and writings. The management said that the security staff on the floor has been increased to prevent these indecent actions. The security officers stressed that the persons who are engaged in such illegal matters will be taken into their custody and handed over to the police. A silent protest was held in front of the Wildlife Conservation Department this morning, demanding a solution for the human-elephant conflict.
Several environmental organizations have joined this protest. 146 people have lost their lives last year in this conflict. 439 wild elephants have also died due to human activities. During the past period so far this year, 170 wild elephants and 42 humans have sacrificed their lives owing to this conflict. The silent protesters demanded the government to draw a quick solution for this national problem. They also handed over proposals to implement a national action plan to the Wildlife Department. That's all the news we have from home. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next.
டெபிட் அட்டை, மொபைல் மற்றும் இன்டர்நெட் பேங்கிங், கார்ட்லெஸ் கேஷுடன் 10 நிமிடங்களில் வங்கிக் கணக்கை திறக்க முடியும். பீப்பிள்ஸ் பேங்க் டிஜிட்டல் பேங்கிங் உடன் இணையுங்கள்.
நல்ல நேரம் தெரிஞ்சு கொண்டேன், டீ குடிக்கிற நேரம் கூட போகல.
பீப்பிள்ஸ் பேங்க் டிஜிட்டல் பேங்கிங், உண்மையான சுதந்திரம்.
Welcome back. On international news, North Korea's first spy satellite launch ends in failure and promises to send up another. State media says that North Korea's attempt to put a military reconnaissance satellite in space failed this Wednesday when the second stage of the rocket malfunctioned. It was reported that the projectile plunged into the sea after briefly sparking emergency warnings in South Korea and Japan. The new satellite vehicle rocket Cholima-1 crashed into the West Sea as it lost propulsion due to an abnormal startup of the engine on the second stage of the first stage was separated during normal flight. The report said the reliability and stability of the new engine system was low and the fuel used was unstable, leading to the mission's failure. North Korea's National Space Development Agency said it would investigate the failure urgently and carry out another launch after new testing. North Korea has performed dozens of ballistic missile tests over the past 2 years, which analysts have said have shown a maturation in the program. Both the South Korean and Japanese governments condemned the North Korean launch as a violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has responded to Tuesday's drone attack on the capital of Moscow, accusing Ukraine of trying to frighten young Russians. President Putin said that civilians were targeted, but air defenses had dealt satisfactorily with the threat. The Defense of Ministry said that at least 8 drones caused minor damage, but Kyiv has denied responsibility. This is the first time since the city has been targeted by multiple drones since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Moscow mayor said that no one was seriously injured. Speaking on Russian TV, Putin said the attack had been a response to what he described as a Russian attack on Ukraine's military intelligence headquarters in recent days.
On sports news, Western Province won the men and women basketball championship of the 47th National Sports Festival. The final games were played at the Sukhdadazi Indoor Stadium, Colombo.
Men's teams from all 9 provinces participated in the sport tournament. Women's teams from 8 provinces except Uvo province also competed. The final game was played between the Western province and the Northern province. The Western province won the game 97 to 41 points to become the champions. Northern province became the first runner-up and the Southern province was the second runner-up. The men's final game was played between the Western and Northern provinces. The Western provincial team won the championship 108 to 69 points. The best player of the tournament is Dasun Nilantha of the Western province and the best women's player was Anjali Ekanayaka of the Western province.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on ChannelEye. I'm Bilanjali together with Govind signing off. Good night.
Good night.
எங்கேயும் எப்போதும் எக்காலத்திலும் அதிர்ஷ்டத்தின் நம்பிக்கைக்குரிய தெரிவாக திகழ்கின்ற டிஎல்பி இன்றைய தினமும் உங்களுக்கான அதிர்ஷ்டத்தினை அள்ளி வழங்க போகின்ற நேரத்தில் சந்திக்கின்றோம். இது டிஎல்பியின் லாட்டரி ஷோ. அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகளே, வாரத்தில் 7 நாட்களும் உங்களுக்கு அதிக அளவிலான வெற்றி வாய்ப்புகளை அள்ளி வழங்குகின்ற டிஎல்பி நேற்றைய தினம் குறிப்பாக மிகவும் சிறப்பான நாளில் 14 லட்சத்துக்கும் அதிகமான வெற்றியாளர்களை உருவாக்கி இருக்கின்றது. ஷனிதா வின் கேஷ் விசேட சீட்லிப்பு உள்ளடங்கலாக நேற்றைய தினம் இடம்பெற்றிருந்த 6 சீட்லிப்புகளில் மொத்தமாக 27 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 10,000 ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களையும், அதேபோல் 38 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 50,000 ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களையும், 83 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களையும், 2 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 5 லட்சம் ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களையும், 7 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகள் 10 லட்சம் ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களையும் வென்றிருந்தார்கள். மொத்தமாக 14,25,19 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகளிடையே 6,02,12,560 ரூபாய் பெறுமதியான பணப்பரிசில்களை நாம் அள்ளி வழங்கியிருந்தோம். இவர்களைப் போலவே நீங்களும் அதிக அளவில் பணப்பரிசில்களை வெல்லலாம். அதற்கு நீங்கள் செய்ய வேண்டியது என்னவென்றால், குறிப்பாக 50 அல்லது 50க்கு மேற்பட்ட சீட்லிப்பு டிக்கெட்டுகளை நீங்கள் ஒரே வேளையில் கொள்வனவு செய்ய விரும்பினால் திரையில் காண்பிக்கப்படுகின்ற இந்த தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்களுக்கு வார நாட்களில் அலுவலக வேளையில் அழைப்பினை ஏற்படுத்துங்கள். நீங்கள் இருக்கும் இடத்திற்கே இப்பொழுது சீட்லிப்பு டிக்கெட்டுகளை வரவழைத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். நீங்கள் அழைக்க வேண்டிய தொலைபேசி இலக்கங்கள் இவைதான்: 0114062002, 0114062065, 0114824801 மற்றும் 0114824802. இந்த சேவையினை பெற்றுக்கொள்கின்ற அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகளில் 10 அதிர்ஷ்டசாலிகளை குலுக்கல் முறையின் அடிப்படையில் தெரிவு செய்து அவர்களுக்கான விசேட பரிசில்களை அபிவிருத்தி லொத்தர் சபையானது அவர்கள் இருக்கும் இடத்திற்கே கொண்டு வந்து சேர்க்க போகின்றது. அது மாத்திரமல்ல, இப்பொழுது நாளாந்தம் மிக விரைவாக உங்கள் அதிர்ஷ்டம் தொடர்பான முடிவுகளை அறிந்து கொள்ள டிஎல்பி லாட்டரி ரிசல்ட்ஸ் Facebook பக்கத்தினை லைக் செய்து கொள்ளுங்கள். அப்படியானால் சற்று முன்னர் தேசிய தொலைக்காட்சியின் கலையகம் ஒன்றில் நடுவர் குழுவின் முன்னிலையில் இடம்பெற்றிருந்த இன்றைய தினத்திற்கான 6 சீட்லிப்புகளை ஒன்றன் பின் ஒன்றாக நாம் இப்பொழுது பார்த்து விடலாம். இது உங்கள் அதிர்ஷ்டத்திற்கான நேரம், டிஎல்பியின் லாட்டரி ஷோ. இன்றைய தினம் நடுவர் குழு உறுப்பினர்களாக கடமையாற்றியவர்கள் மின்வலு மற்றும் வலுசக்தி அமைச்சின் மேலதிக செயலாளர் திரு சாமிந்த ஹெட்டியாராச்சி, போக்குவரத்து மற்றும் நெடுஞ்சாலைகள் அமைச்சின் பிரதி பணிப்பாளர் திட்டமிடல் திருமதி பிரார்த்தனா பிரசாதி ஹேவா பத்திரன மற்றும் தேசிய கணக்காய்வு அலுவலகத்தின் கணக்காய்வு உத்தியோகத்தர் திரு AMDA தில்ஹார். தினம்தோறும் உங்களுக்கு கோடீஸ்வரர் வரத்தை அள்ளி வழங்கும் மற்றும் ஒரு கோடிபதி சீட்டெடுப்பில் உங்கள் அனைவரையும் சந்திப்பதில் மிக்க மகிழ்ச்சி. இன்றைய தினம் நாங்கள் உங்களை சந்திக்க வந்திருக்கும் வெற்றிகரமான சீட்டெடுப்பு வாரம் 1931வது சீட்டெடுப்பு வாரம். இன்றைய தினம் கோடிபதி மூலமாக நீங்கள் வெல்ல போகும் சுப பரிசை அடுத்ததாக நாம் பார்க்கலாம். 5,05,68,26 ரூபாய். அது மாத்திரமல்ல, 10 லட்சம் ரூபாய், 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் என ஏராளமான இதர பணப்பரிசில்களையும் இன்றைய தினமும் வெல்லக்கூடிய வாய்ப்பு உங்களுக்காக காத்திருக்கிறது. அப்படியானால் தாமதமின்றி சீட்டெடுப்புக்கு செல்லலாம். தேசிய தொலைக்காட்சியில் கலையகம் ஒன்றில் நடுவர்களின் மேற்பார்வையில் சீட்டெடுக்கப்பட்டு ஒளிப்பதிவு செய்யப்பட்ட கோடிபதி சீட்டெடுப்பின் வெற்றிலக்கங்களை இப்பொழுது பார்ப்போம். முதலாவது வெற்றிலக்கமாக 38 தெரிவாகி இருக்கிறது. அடுத்ததாக இரண்டாவது வெற்றிலக்கத்தை இப்பொழுது நாம் பார்க்கலாம். இரண்டாவது வெற்றி இலக்கமாக இலக்கம் 27 தெரிவாகி இருக்கிறது. அடுத்ததாக மூன்றாவது வெற்றி இலக்கத்தை தெரிவு செய்ய போகின்றோம். தெரிவாகும் ஒவ்வொரு இலக்கங்களின் பின்னாலும் உங்களுக்கான பண பரிசில்கள் காத்திருக்கின்றன. மூன்றாவது வெற்றி இலக்கமாக 64 தெரிவாகி இருக்கிறது.